everyone, it's time for the best of wrap-up from the O-Ranger Story Tour. The whole team is going to tell you their best ofs for the tour, and stay tuned for your viewing pleasure.
Best National Park.
For me, this is totally a toss-up between the Tetons and Acadia. The Tetons in Wyoming, really enjoyed the Tetons and the gateway town of Jackson Hole. Love them both dearly, very close to my heart. And here in Bar Harbor, love the town of Bar Harbor and love Acadia. So that's totally a toss-up. No, there's no winner there. They're both just perfect in my eyes.
For me, the best national park was the Tetons from this tour. I absolutely loved it. Although Acadia was a very close second. And Olympic National Park is my favorite from before the tour. The end.
I'm going to have to say Grand Tetons on this one. So much so that I actually want to move there. I loved the Tetons. I found them to be absolutely striking. I could sit there and stare at them for hours, and the wildlife that's there is just, I think, what I'm alive for. I live to see as much wildlife as I possibly can.
My best national park would either be Zion or the Grand Tetons. Hard to decide, but I love them both. We're just doing cartwheels. Hello.
Best hike.
I'm gonna have to think about this one. Best hike. I really enjoyed the hike in Zion. If you take the shuttle to the end to the Temple of Sinawava, and then you hike in, it's part of the Narrows, which is really cool. And I sat and chilled out there for a while, so that was probably one of my favorite hikes. Yeah, it would have to be that one.
My best hike, probably Yosemite. I went to the northern side, kind of in the Yosemite Wilderness on the northern side of the park, and did a 30-mile hike around May Lake, and it was gorgeous. I'd never been to that part of the Sierras and loved it, but man, it's hard to decide. I did so many great hikes this summer, and hard to decide. The Narrows, I went down to the Grand Canyon, down to Colorado and back. I don't know, but I guess May Lake would probably have to be my favorite.
This is a toss-up. I think my best hike, I've had a couple of really awesome hikes. All right, I've had 3 that I can think of right now off the top of my head that were really incredible, and I can't tell you what order I'd want to put them in, so I'm just going to name all 3. We have, in the Rockies, I hiked to Sky Pond and several other places in between along the route, and actually jumped into the glacial melt. It was freezing cold. Then we have Half Dome in Yosemite, and that was awesome because it was a real challenge to hold onto the cables with the line of traffic. Yes, the line of traffic of people trying to ascend the Half Dome. And Zion National Park doing the Narrows. I did it wrong, as it turned out. I added a few extra miles to my trip, and that was brilliant, especially because I have a huge fear of water, and I did it.
Hands down, my best hike was the Narrows in Zion. I love any hike where you get to splash in water and swim, so that was awesome.
Hey guys, it's Bridget. Okay, best day off. My best day off was spent in Arches with Cindy. She is the executive director of Canyonlands Historical Society, and she was just amazing. She took me to all around the town, and I saw all of the pictographs and everything that were in the area, so it was just absolutely amazing.
It's hard to pick what would have been my best day off. I think probably the day off I took and went hiking up in the Tetons, and it had snowed the day before. That was a great day off, and then came down into the city and had some pizza in Jackson and got to hang out with the girls that night. Those are, I guess, all my day offs were kind of like that. Fit in a hike and got some food later that day, and usually hung out around the campfire at night. Every day off was magical, and it's fantastic. Any day off was great. Hard to choose.
My best day off was all of my days off. I think I only had a couple that weren't all that great, and I think those days off were spent shopping. I am not a shopper at all. I'd much rather be outside exploring and hiking and seeking out wildlife. And I don't care if it's raining, if it's sunny, if it's snowing, hailing, whatever. I would much rather be outdoors. All right, maybe not hailing because it could hurt. But I'd much rather be outdoors exploring. And all of my days off were my best days off.
Who got a day off on this tour?
You did. You went shopping.
I didn't get any days off. Just kidding. I got lots of days off. My best day off was probably here because I got to swim in the ocean. Best bathrooms.
Definitely the bathrooms at Mather Campground in Yellowstone National Park. Amazing, spotless, super clean.
Yeah, bathroom that works is fine by me. An outhouse that works is fine by me, honestly.
The bathrooms at Yellowstone Campground were super, super clean. So those are really nice bathrooms.
Best bathrooms are going to be in Yellowstone at the campground that we stayed at. Oh, what was it called? I don't know. I'm sure somebody else said this bathroom too because it was just the best bathroom that we had been to. Abe, what was the bathroom we stayed at? Or not the bathroom, the campground in Yellowstone. Mather Campground.
Mather Campground.
That was Abe's nose. His nostrils. Had the best bathrooms, totally clean. I mean, and that was near the end of our trip, so we had been to a lot of park bathrooms, and that one was the bee's knees.
Best museum.
Best museum?
I honestly don't think I went in a museum this summer.
I don't even know that I could possibly answer that. I mean, every museum that I went to this summer, they were all very different, all very informative. And honestly, I'm just such a museum nerd that like I couldn't pick one over the other because they were just all, to me, fantastic and very informative and just wonderful way to spend some time. I think it's really important to go to the museums when you go to national parks because then you understand why it's a national park and what has happened there in the past, and so to me that's very important. So yeah, honestly I think everybody's anticipating that I have an answer to this, but I really can't choose because each and every one was different and each and every one was very special. So when you go to the parks, check out the museums. I mean, it gives the whole park like a whole new meaning, more than just like the hiking trails and all of that. I mean, there was people that lived there and things that happened there, which is really special.
Museum.
Best non-park lodge.
This is also a difficult choice. I'd have to say the best non-park lodging was Natural Bridge. That hotel was gorgeous, amazing, loved it, historic, beautiful. Yes.
I don't know if this one counts as a non-park lodge. Probably not, but I'm going to throw it in there anyway. Bridget and I stayed at the Hilton Hotel downtown St. Louis, and we found a really great deal on Hotwire that we couldn't pass up. Plus it was her birthday, so it was a good reason to celebrate there and be close to downtown. And The beds were just so luxurious feeling, and the pillows were so incredibly soft. I could have slept for days in one of those beds, and they were really clean.
I know, it's not really lodging, it's more like a campground, which I guess is lodging, but it's camping. The Bar Harbor campground here in Bar Harbor, Maine. I love Bar Harbor. They have, it's ocean view. I mean, that hasn't happened the whole trip. And they have Wi-Fi. Keep up with all my friends, all my peeps out there.
Okay, so I'm totally in love with Travelodge. I love Travelodge hotels. I stay in them whenever I can. And there was a Travelodge that we stayed at somewhere in Pennsylvania at the beginning of the tour. We're not really sure. We have pictures. But there were bears. Did you talk about... Bridget, come over here. Did you talk about the Travelodge that we stayed at in Pennsylvania for your best non-park lodging?
Yes.
It was amazing. There were bears everywhere. It was great. The bed covers had bears. The lamps had bears. There was bear wallpaper. What else? There were bears everywhere in this hotel.
Bears.
There were little cuddly bears everywhere. Like this. It's a great Travelodge. Definitely, I don't know where it is, but if you're out somewhere in Pennsylvania, know that there is a Travelodge that is amazing. You'd be sleeping with little stuffed teddy bears.